The 30th anniversary season of Power Rangers is finally here, so let's talk about Power Rangers Cosmic Fury. Hello everyone, it's thomasjujube, and before I give my thoughts on Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, I really want to hear yours. If you've seen it, please comment your thoughts down below. Just keep in mind that, like last time with my review on the entirety of Power Rangers Dino Fury, if you're racist, homophobic, sexist, or just rude in any way, I am deleting your comment. I'm not even going to ask questions this time. Just, you're gone. Alright, now let's talk about Cosmic Fury. I want to set the stage for you. Let's talk about my thoughts leading up to the actual season, because it's kind of an interesting matter, this case, rather than here's the next Power Rangers season, it's this season, or, you know, this Sentai being adapted or whatever. As I mentioned in my review for Dino Fury, even though I'm mostly negative on Dino Fury, I was pretty excited for Cosmic Fury. Initially, I wasn't, because again, I just didn't like the first seasons for that team, so we're getting the third one, woohoo, I don't really care, I would have watched it anyways. But once we learned that the production was going to be using 100% original ground fight footage, and that they would still be using parts of Q Ranger with the mechas and probably some monsters, so it was still giving us that Q Ranger adaptation everyone wanted, I was kind of into that. I was really excited to see what Power Rangers could do by writing their own original storyline, but still rely on the Sentai footage every once in a while. And as we drew closer to the release date, I just got more excited, because the theme song, I like that, I think it's pretty cool, and the quality of Once and Always coming out earlier this year, which I did not do a full review on, I really liked Once and Always, and that was a completely original production, except for, you know, suit reusage, because, you know, MMPR was from Japan originally. The actual writing of the season, I was probably expecting it to be like on the same level of Dino Fury, and I would have actually been okay with that, not because I like the quality in Dino Fury, I just wanted to see how this experiment would go. It was also partly like morbid fascination, like watching a car crash, because the suits for this original season are, I don't like them. I know, very original opinion. You've probably heard a bunch of people talk about them and complained about them, so I'll just give you the quick rundown. I think they're simultaneously too plain and too complex, because they have this generic shield design, but it has like all these patterns on it, but then it only covers the neck. So the chest is still super plain. And then that same weird design is on the gauntlets, but not on the legs, so it just feels mismatched. Then the actual chests are this weird foam tube, because they wanted to mold in abs for the guys and the girls have molded breasts, and it's so weird. It looks wrong in action sequences, and when they're just standing there, you're like, is that what? And then like a lot of the recent Power Rangers stunt suits, the spandex is just like really cheap, and like usually that's just not really an issue. Dino Fury suits were like that. Here it's a bad design and the material's cheap, so it's just like an extra straw in the camel's back, which was apparently done because Hasbro wanted it to be easier for them to make toys of these figures, and there aren't any figures of these suits. Let me talk about the actual show. Honestly, it kind of lived up to the hype for me. I was pretty hyped, and it accomplished that for me. Part of it might just be the general hype that I had. Also, Q Ranger was the first season I watched live in Sentai, so it was kind of nostalgic to see those Megazord fights again, because I haven't seen them in a long time. Also, I stayed up until midnight for the actual release, and then I binged all 10 episodes in a row, which is something I've never done before, especially, you know, in like 4 in the morning. So that was a fun experience. And I also loved the opening. I already said I liked the song, but I also like they changed the intro like every couple of episodes as the characters switched their Cosmic Fury suits, but then as other people joined the team or other things were changed, and that was pretty fun. Like, Power Rangers doesn't really do stuff like that. They'll just add, like, you know, the Gold Ranger into the opening, and maybe they'll change a shot for the final mecha, but other than that, they don't really do that much. And maybe it's just because, you know, stuff was happening every episode, so the opening would get outdated. like every episode, so maybe there's that. That was still like a fun novelty to the experience. What about the actual show though? I did say let's talk about the actual show, but that's not really stuff about the actual show. Episode 1, okay, the beginning of the show, was pretty awesome for me. The opening action shot is no notes, perfectly done, beautifully shot. The chaos is incredible. I also really like how there's just a bunch of random monsters, like it's the Zed, what are they called, Sentinels, like Zed Sentinels. That's a fun pun. Then we just got like monsters of the week in that whole thing. It's a really cool opening, and then the Morphin Masters are there, and that kind of ruins everything. It is kind of weird how they establish in the beginning of this that the Morphin Masters just put Zed in that triangle thing from Dino Fury and then dumped him on a planet, and then Squid People found him and freed him. Like, that's not really the greatest prison ever, guys. Aren't you like super powerful gods? You could have... Was he not in your dimension? I don't know. That's a bit of a weird setup for the show. And I also like that they just establish Billy and Mick are already there. We don't need to like go and find them or anything like that. They're just like, oh, hey, MMPR Blue, he's over there. And then also like, it's a small interaction, but like when Zed sees Billy and he's like, Cranston, and then he just starts fighting his 30-year-long beef with Cranston, and he has to go fight him immediately. I like that Mick just gets his Ninja Steel suit back like almost immediately. That was a cool novelty. I like that. The feeling of desperation that this episode and a lot of the following episodes create is really awesome. We take Javi out of action, Zayto's out of action, Ollie's out of action, but he's like being mind controlled, so that's like a different situation. It's 3 different situations for missing 3 Rangers. Then Zed's approaching, then he destroys the Dino powers, and then all of a sudden we're stranded across the universe. I really dug that. Like, it's like a 3-episode setup, and then the actual Cosmic Fury things kind of start. Also, in episode 1, it's kind of crazy. The first appearance of the Cosmic Fury Megazord is just a random formation from Q Ranger. I don't even know what episode it's from, because it's definitely not episode 1. And then it seems like there isn't a set formation for the Cosmic Fury Megazords. They do any random combo, and it has the same name, Cosmic Fury Megazord. And I think that's an interesting take, but it just adds to this weird genericness with the Zords, because we're told they're the super powerful, long-lost Cosmic Fury Zords, and then they just act like normal Zords, and they're just replacements for the Cosmic Fury team. I thought the logical like thing to write in to make them seem powerful is that they're unaffected by Zord's anti-Zord force field thing that's on Earth, but no, it affects them too. So it's just like there's no point to them. There's also that thing where they can pilot any of the Zords, which is kind of fun, because we get like Javi pilots green and black, and Ion pilots orange and yellow, and there's other things, of course, but it just kind of takes away from the uniqueness of them as Zords. Like, the cool Power Rangers thing is you summon the T-Rex as the Red Ranger, that's your designated Zord. There's nothing like that here. They just summon all of them as a group, and then they can form a Megazord if they need it. It zaps away the uniqueness of Ranger Zords. Another reason for that is also because the new Cosmic Fury powers aren't connected to the Zords at all. Billy creates the Cosmic Suits as a replacement for the Dino ones without that original connection to the grid with Dino Henge, but it has no relevance to the new Zords the team got. I feel like the obvious thing you write in the story is that the Dino Fury Rangers have lost their Zords. They find new Zords. Then they lose their powers. They can get new powers from their new Zords. But no, there's no connection between the Red Lion Zord and Amelia being the Red Ranger. She just pilots it because the grid chose her to be red. It's so weird. They don't feel like special new powers. They just feel like weird things, the replacement powers that Billy cooked up. They're not connected to the big powerful Cosmic Fury Zords. I guess that's the issue. They're telling us they're big, powerful Cosmic Fury Zords, and they're not. They don't give new suits. The new suits are just, they look boring, but they're also kind of boring story-wise as well. So that's probably my biggest complaint in the first 7 episodes. Other than that, like, as I said, I love the desperation, the need to go back to Earth and save everyone. The fact we're stranded in space, morphin in outer space, trying to save the human race. But what made this work even better was the characters. I didn't think I'd be saying this about the Dino Fury characters, but they got me to like these characters. Let's go in the order I went in with my Dino Fury video. Javi. I liked him before. There wasn't much to him. Episode 1 immediately shoots him up to being a top tier character in the season because he's the only one on the team willing to sacrifice himself in order to get the Cosmic Fury Zords to stand a chance against Zed. And there's consequences to that. He loses his arm. And then the season deals with that, like, as a new personality aspect of him. That he has to figure out, like, how to deal with the robot arm. And, like, they connect it with his music thing. So now he's, you know, trying to figure out how he can do music with his robot arm. How he has to make a readjustment. And they make him compelling. He goes from, like, yeah, Javi's cool, I don't really have a problem, to, yeah, Javi's a really interesting character now. Izzy doesn't really do much. Like, they don't really destroy her character, but if anything, she is kind of like, the thing where she's overprotective towards Fern is a bit annoying. Like, I get it, and it makes Fern's story more, like, compelling, but it is kind of weird, like a weird direction to take Izzy's character, because other than that, she doesn't really do anything in the season. So, you know, I guess it's a little disappointing that that character, who I thought was the strongest ranger in season 1, kind of gets, like, I guess it's not really she got knocked down, it's just she gets overshadowed because they don't do anything new with her. Fern is a real standout for me this season, because last time she was just, you know, Izzy's girlfriend side character. That was fine. But now she's like the first Orange Ranger that wasn't in a comic or dream sequence. That's cool. But also her storyline, I found it to be endearing. There's a satisfying build up to her debut, as she's put in the same position as the other Rangers, trapped in space. But, like, she's trying to do more to help because she's trapped in space, but Izzy rightfully wants to keep her safe. So there's this interesting conflict of, like, I want to see Fern, you know, we all want to see Fern help out, but it's like, you know, she isn't a ranger, to be fair. It is dangerous out there. Eventually, she gets to make that leap of faith and gets to become a Cosmic Fury Ranger. And, so afterwards, she stops being, like, relevant or interesting. She is just there to be another character. I kind of get it, you know, the season's so short and they have to focus on finale stuff. When she becomes a ranger, there wasn't really room to do anything there, so it's understandable. It's a little disappointing though. And I also like the way it ties in with Solon, because Fern is the Solonosaurus Ranger, she says, which is what Solon is. That's where the name comes from. I think that's a fake dinosaur. So, like, it's just kind of fun. Like, they made up a dinosaur for Fern to turn into. And since they were, like, kind of the side characters on the ship, and they had a couple of interactions before that, it was kind of cute that that's how Fern gets to accomplish her dream of helping out the team as a ranger. That being said, it does add into the weirdness of the power set, where we have an orange Zord, which Fern actively pilots afterwards, but it doesn't connect to the Cosmic Fury suit at all. So Ollie and Amelia, last time I gave them a lot of crap. This time, first of all, the relationship is actually used for something, at least for Amelia. I was unsure of it going into the season, which I'll talk a bit more in a second, but I actually thought her promotion to the Red Ranger was pretty cool, because it felt like Ollie's corruption was used as a conduit for that. Like, her desperation to try to bring Ollie back results in her kind of stepping up, holding the team together as they're stranded, and then, you know, then she becomes a Red Ranger. Like, I kind of forgot that she was going to be red, And it was nice they put in a bit of effort to her stepping up in a leadership role to make a progression to the leader as the Red Ranger. As for Ollie, he is the best character. First of all, look at this fucking Dino Fury blue suit. There's no official name for it, but I need some kind of toy for this now. Dino Knight is still my favorite suit in Power Rangers, but this is easily a close second. Just look at it. I'm not even going to explain myself. It looks incredible, and it's sexy as hell, and I'm glad they kept it around for most of the season before replacing it. It just makes the Cosmic Fury suits even worse in comparison. Like, the fact they did make an original suit, and it looks like this, and then it gets replaced with this. At first I was like, are we really making Ollie evil again? Because we did that in Dino Fury, and it was whatever in Dino Fury, so it felt like, you know, repetitious. But then, they just let him go all out this time around. I mean, he also gets a new suit. He has more interactions as an evil ranger, so it's not just an episode off thing. He gets time to act as a way I can only describe as deliciously evil. He channels like the asshole Ollie energy into truly villainous energy, and it is so fun to watch. He is such a menace. His dialogue with the other characters is crazy. I think when he fights Emilia after she just becomes red, he is like pissed. He's very upset, which is kind of wild because that is was your girlfriend. So now they're very upset at each other, but it's fun. It's an interesting rivalry, I guess, in a way. Fortunately, that makes the redemption feel a bit lazy. They just blow up a statue, and he's back to normal, which creates this weird anomaly where if Zed destroyed it in episode 2, he would have lost his greatest ally. And Ollie's the one who told him not to destroy the statue, so it's like Ollie kept himself evil. And I don't think that was like, there's not really an intent, or it doesn't seem like there was intent to make that an intentional writing choice. We all knew he was going to turn good again, so it's like not the craziest thing. But it is, I kind of wish if maybe they built up to it a bit more. Maybe they destroyed the statue. Maybe they destroyed the statue in episode 2, and it just kept him evil. But now, because he's like not really mind controlled, then as the season progresses he goes back to the light, I guess. I still don't really have much to say about Ion this time around. Look, the actor's still great, the character's personality is still charismatic, and now like they added this chef personality trait, and there's some lines where he says like, you know, he learned to cook after Zato died the first time, so it's fun to like, it's kind of a fun character trait to give him. Like, he has a bit of personality now. He's a chef. I just realized this might be an unintentional Q Ranger reference, or maybe it was a Q Ranger reference, because Yellow was a chef. That was his entire personality. So I don't know if that was intentional or not. But either way, I thought it was fun. But yes, because of that line of like dialogue where he learned to cook in Zato's absence, like from stress and whatever, and with Zato back now, like he has like more of a relationship with him and Solon. They had like a couple of great moments, and I touched on Solon earlier, but like Solon feels improved this season. Ion feels way better because that relationship with Zato just feels more stronger, like it's actually more relevant to the story and stuff. So they really improved all the characters, including Zato. Kind of. In theory, I do like the story here. I like the concept of him living on this borrowed time now, but he keeps using the last of his life force to save people as a Power Ranger. That's what he does. And then it eventually allows him to die, but he becomes a god or something, and the Morphin Master, which is maybe a downgrade because they suck. It gives consequence at the ending of Dino Fury in an infinitely more interesting way. And since these seasons are so obsessed with the Morphin Masters, it's a coolio way to end the season. The problem is, like, in execution, Zato does not do anything. He spends the first 4 episodes doing literally nothing. And then once he returns, he just feels like a plot device. He's only there to just provide random solutions to various situations, and then he passes out until the next time he's needed. We're told the Morphin Masters revived him for some purpose, but we never really find out what the purpose was, because they're confused that he's a Morphin Master by the end. I kind of thought that this was part of some master plan to keep the Morphin Masters alive after Zed like gets rid of them all. I thought like they were aware of that and they're like, we'll revive Zato and keep the tradition alive. But no, the Morphin Masters come back and Zato just happens to turn into one. It's very strange. Then there's also this weird problem where like Zato was the Red Ranger last season, effectively the main character, and then now this season again he's the guy who sleeps for most of the show, and the big moments he does get are just kind of unexplained. Like, how does he become a Morphin Master? I don't know, he just does. And also the color sucks. His new color is stupid. I don't mind that Amelia became the Red Ranger, first female Red Ranger. That's cool. It makes sense within the season, but I don't like that it came at the cost of Zato just has a character. They could have done something where both Zato and Amelia are red, and Zato is still the leader, but Amelia's the red, and like he makes her the red or something because he's aware he's going to die soon, and he is aware in the season. So it's just him wanting to prepare the team for his eventual absence. And we've had multiple Red Rangers in a season before, so you know, you still get the full-fledged female red leading the team, and you also get Zato staying relevant and like having a more active role in his eventual promotion. I'm not fully equipped to discuss the larger issue at play here, where Zato is just the next iteration of a black Red Ranger who gets replaced by another white person or just gets demoted from the Red Ranger role, which is the, you know, the standout role of Power Rangers. Everyone knows what a Red Ranger is. I want to give a shout out to my fellas Slither and Mucus for managing to become important parts of the plot in the final season of Power Rangers. I genuinely did not think the two of them would come back at all, so I am so happy they did, especially again because of Ryu Soldier, and I love Weisel, and it's so cool to get to see that suit one last time on the side of good, because, you know, he was redeemed in Ryu Soldier too, but we never got to see him as a good guy. We get to see it in this season, so it's like wish fulfillment after however many years it's been since Ryu Soldier. The actual main villains were just tolerable for me. Lord Zed as the main villain is more of a novelty. I don't have nostalgia for him. I just think it's neat that the first Power Rangers exclusive villain is the final villain for the franchise, and his new foot soldiers were cool. He's just evil, but it's Lord Zed. I don't think you really have to give him like a lot of backstory and stuff. Squid Ink Inc. is a funny name, but other than that, they were serviceable. All they really carried for the villains. But the villains are also why the last few episodes of the season weren't as good as the beginning for me. After the Rangers retake the Earth, the stakes just kind of drop off. The season was about trying to go stop Lord Zed, his takeover of Earth, leading to the takeover of the universe, save our friends on Earth, this, that, the other. Then they do that. So then it's like, but we still have show left. So it's like, where do we go from there? What's next for these characters? And they don't really lay the groundwork for what's next. It's just kind of like, hey, Lord Zed has the Morphin Masters. Let's see what happens with that. It's not really that interesting. The idea of Zed as a Morphin Master is like too vague to feel threatening compared to like good old-fashioned Earth is taken over, our friends and family are in trouble, other Power Rangers are in trouble. That being said, the design of Master Zed is hot. That's a really great suit, and it would have been a cool final battle, but then the Squid Lady captures him after 2 minutes. She served her purpose as Zed's henchman, but it's so disrespectful to have her usurp the Emperor of Evil and then try to make a twist with her as the final boss. Who needed that? We didn't need that. It's just like unnecessary complications to the story. Just have Zed be the final boss as Master Zed. And they do technically do that. He comes back as the final boss. But then he gets defeated thanks to that one nightmare planet from Dino Fury. He's trapped again. The show starts because Zed was freed from this Morphin Master prison. And it ends by trapping him on a planet. He's not even in a prison. You could actually I think you could fly over and just grab him and take him away. The Emperor of Evil is on the loose again. It's so underwhelming for all the stakes and the arcs of the story. And it's even more disappointing considering this is the final season of Power Rangers. In case you didn't know, the New Zealand production that has been responsible for the last decade or so of Power Rangers productions has been shut down. There's currently no Season 31 in development, and combine that with the upcoming hiatus of the Lightning Collection, Power Rangers is taking a break, effectively, until whatever Hasbro's cooking with the reboot gets off the ground. If it ever gets off the ground, but that's not the time to talk about that. Looking at the season through the perspective of not only being a 30th anniversary, but also the final iteration of this continuity at least, is a little odd. I've said in the past, I don't need an anniversary to be constant references and returning characters, and for the most part, Dino Fury does do a good job with this. The story is centered around the Dino Fury Rangers, and then we've got returning characters to populate, like, pieces of the story, Mick, Billy, Dark Ranger, which I'll get to, and it's nice. It's a cool send-off to the franchise in that aspect. Zordon also cameos at the end, which is kind of crazy, but he's in Zeto's body, and I kind of like that. Again, it's an interesting moment because it ties into Ion's character and his relationship with Zeto, but it's also like, it's Zordon. They were able to include Zordon in the final Power Rangers season, and that's cool. For me, the biggest win was finally getting to see the Dark Ranger from Dino Charge on the screen. Dino Charge is a pretty special season for me. It's kind of what got me back into Power Rangers and Tokusatsu, and I wasn't like keeping up with leaks and rumors and stuff, but I was aware of Kyoryuger's Death Ryuger, and I could tell as a child that like Heckle was telegraphed to become some kind of dark Death Ryuger Ranger with the Dark Energem, and it never happened, and I was pretty disappointed even when I was younger. So all of these years later, he finally gets to transform as the Dark Ranger on screen. He doesn't contribute much to the actual story. He straight up loses his first fight, and it's pretty obvious he's here just for fan service. Maybe they could have done something with Ollie where like have them fight. That would have been incredible, and maybe you could tie that into Ollie's redemption, since they're both evil dark blue rangers with really cool suits that have red in them. But I'm like, as I said, I'm like the target audience for this cameo, so they kind of got me. I can make all the nitpicks I want about it, but I still really like seeing Heckle finally transform into Dark Ranger. The weirdest part of the anniversary aspect for me is just they mention that there's other teams of Power Rangers on Earth fighting Zed, captured by Zed, freed from Zed, and they don't pay it off in any way, or they do by seeing weird CG Megazords in the finale. So like, it is definitely a budget thing, and as I said, I don't need that to happen to make an anniversary season enjoyable. I guess it's just weird because they were setting that up. Like, they literally talk about it in the show, and we don't get at least like a couple other Rangers just in the suit doing some kind of battle. That, you know, that's a little disappointing. As the ending to all of Power Rangers, it leaves a little bit to be desired, especially with the last line. I don't really care, but like, I just want to bring it up because I've seen people talking about it, where the show ends with Zeto as the Morphin Master going cool coolio, which is fun in the context of Dino Fury, because, you know, that was a funny little thing Zeto said a long time ago, and it turns into like his iconic catchphrase in the last shot of the show. But as the last shot of Power Rangers, I don't know, maybe probably would have wanted a bit something extra, or at least you could have him say, "May the power protect you." That being said, I had a lot of fun with Power Rangers Cosmic Fury, way more than Dino Fury, easily enjoyed it way more than those seasons. If I had to bring back the meter thing that I used last time, so what, favorite here, least favorite here, we're over here a bit. We're a bit closer to the top aspects of Power Rangers. I think they did a really fascinating job with this storytelling. I wouldn't mind if Power Rangers continue like this. Granted, I would want, maybe just take the Sentai suits and then film original footage. Don't make your own designs, because sometimes it doesn't seem to work out, apparently. I thought this was a successful first experiment with Power Rangers of this nature. I would have liked to see them continue this, but alas, it's not to be. This is the end of the Power Rangers Part 2. I do need that figure of Dino Fury Dark right now, though. Remember to let me know what you thought of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury down in the comment section. Check out my Patreon for early access to my future videos, and I hope to see you next time.